Welcome back to the Apatros review. In this episode, Crocodile, directed by Toby Hooper in the year 2000. Welcome. Now I'm shooting this video outside in the outdoors at this park in Bonnyrigg in the southwestern area of Sydney. Now we've had some bushfires in other parts of New South Wales, and my condolences and sympathies to anyone who's lost their homes in this tragedy. Anyway, in this episode we'll look at the film Crocodile. And by the way, that was actually a VHS cover, modified by me. VHS cover this is a VHS review. You can find no longer the tape. I converted to DVD years ago. But anyway, it's a VHS review I'm doing. Now, this was released in Australia on VHS by Universal Pictures, along with a whole slog of direct-to-video monster credit features, none of which earned a Region 4 DVD release, or for other countries might have their own DVDs of these. Now for the story. A pair of poachers make the fatal mistake of trashing the nest of Flat Dog, an ancient Nile crocodile that lives in the Lake Sobek area of Southern California. Flat Dog, who has been alive for like more than 90 years, kills the pair, but not before her last surviving egg finds its way into the backpack of one of a group of college students partying nearby for spring break. As the sheriff and the local hunter with a serious scored silver Flat Dog attempt to track her down, the crocodile comes after the youths, who are unaware that they hold the egg in their possession. Toby Hooper has had a wildly patchy history in the horror genre. He started off with the likes of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, a landmark horror film, and a film that many consider to be a masterpiece, that changed the face of horror and ushered in a whole new wave of nasty-minded horror films throughout the 1970s. Then on to making a series of misunderstood but otherwise excellent films in the 1980s, like Poltergeist, Life Force, which is a pretty awesome film, and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. And before spending the 1990s and beyond, right up until his death in the late 2010s, he died like a week or two after George Romero did, making B-grade horror filler trap that didn't even manage to hold any sort of candle up to the classics they crafted decades before. With Crocodile, a US production that had to be moved to Mexico halfway through the production schedule after the local unions proved too much of a pain in the ass to make working with them feasible, Hooper makes an entry in the rather dodgy but nevertheless interesting subgenre of Jaws templates involving crocodiles. My personal favorite of this bunch is the 1989 Italian effort Killer Crocodile. I still have VHS of that and I'll review in the future, but not for a long time coming. This film even had a sequel that came out a couple years later. Crocodile was a routine monster flick, no more no less. This film's story is hamstrung by a mostly young cast that I really didn't care for enough for their plot to be worth caring about, mostly due to the fact that the youngsters are a bunch of idiots. The older members of the cast are much better, particularly Terrence Evans, who plays Quint-alike, with a crusty demeanor which I found hilariously agreeable. The crocodile effects are initially poor, but with some characteristically shoddy cheap CGI being used for the early attacks, but once the full croc shows up, with a decent looking mechanical croc supplied by the Lux Canby Effects Group, the film recovers some of the credibility initially lost. Still, it ain't a patch on the fearsome looking fake croc that appeared in the Killer Crocodile films in terms of character and fear factor. The ending is also better than what most films in this subgenre offered, with the mother croc managing not only to stay alive but to spare the surviving cast after she gets her baby back safely, leaving the survivors to ponder their life lessons. All things considered, this ain't too bad, but still pretty average killer croc flick that signified Toby Hooper's decline to hack territory. Now, the gore report. Not really a gory film despite the healthy body count, very little blood seen. Now, as for nudity, there are some brief breast splashes, but nothing more. I give Crocodile a C, a 4 out of 10, meaning it's an average film, nothing more. Anyway, that's it for this review.